like that. All right, let's get the sector spotlight. We're going to delve into tech here. Now, tech has produced a lot of the leaders in the bull market, so I feel like it's important to take their temperature to see what they're doing now, to see if that's an indication of which direction we're going to go in the short term. All right, let's start with Netflix then, because it ended in the green yesterday despite the NASDAQ being down about 1.5%. What's the chart telling you for this one?
Netflix is probably one of the strongest stocks in the market right now. We're talking Netflix is around $248, a few dollars off of 52-week highs when I just showed you the indices under pressure. So when this market finds its footing, I believe, according to my old school rules, this should blast off through 250, 255 and lead that sector higher. This needs to be on your radar every single day because it shows relative strength.
If it's going to lead the sector higher, though, the fact that it was up yesterday, that's not enough confirmation yet.
Not yet, because the market's still under pressure. But if the market lifts, you know, with relative strength type rules, it should take off. I'm long some here. I'm going to try and add through 250 if it acts the same way it acted yesterday.
Now, Apple said you had to. With Apple, you said you had to watch that 330 level. It held.
Yes.
So what are you seeing now?
Well, Apple has been giving cash flow traders short-term moves, both long and short. As far as the macro pattern, it's still in place. If you look here on Apple, it's definitely choppy, but overall, this big support going across has held. Yesterday, it held that 330, rallied off it. I still see these moving averages curling down, so 340 is going to be resistance. But one day, when this market acts better, it'll trade through this big descending channel, which I'm not going to draw, above 350. So for right now, it's a tier 1 long if you're an investor. If you're a trader, keep trading these ranges.
All right, let's go to BIDU, down almost 4% on Monday. Seems like further downside here. Is this just the laggard of the whole group, I have to ask?
It's not the laggard. It's just in a corrective mode. We talked about when BIDU came out with earnings, it did the breakout failure. It was a short. And then last week, it held the 100-day, so it was a good oversold bounce. Right now, macro, I think you need to give it some time. It is creating some small descending channel here. This was that breakout failure. Here's your cascade move lower. Held the 100-day. If it can go sideways and hold above 125, there might be a time when it breaks above this descending channel and start a new move. So right now, it is a trade, both long and short, and it also is a watch for the investor. If it stays above 125, and when the market gets its footing, this could break that descending channel.
All right, let's go to Salesforce.com. Okay, so slightly down, a little more consolidation after earnings. Is it a big concern?
No, I just think it needs to consolidate a big move after earnings, and as long as it holds that earnings gap, which I have to show you, and moves sideways, I do think we can get a better trade once it triggers above this, just say 148 area, which would then clear this whole consolidation. So let it hold this support of this gap around 143, go sideways, and I do think if that stays intact, this could be a leader moving forward. And VMW looks the same. It looks okay as well in that group.
And then what about Intel?
Intel's been under pressure since Goldman downgraded it. We talked about how the semis can't be the only group holding up. It broke its 21-day. I'd like to see Intel hold 2250. If it does so, it's still in the game for higher prices.
Also, I feel like a lot of the bulls for Intel are waiting on the sidelines purposely until any correction shakes out. So, but they're there.
Yes, and it's coming a little bit. So 2250 is an area if you sold the strength. Maybe nibble a little bit. If it breaks that, then I see 2175.
All right, so wrap it up in terms of what's your entire tech takeaway then. It seems like all the stocks have a little bit more consolidation, but they are building some kind of support. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah,
well, I'm seeing something different. A month ago, when the market was going higher, momentum leaders, tech leaders were breaking down, and that indicated a lower move in the indices. Now, as the indices correct, I'm seeing some constructive patterns be put in place, so when the market does find its footing, we'll have a bunch of go-to stocks, which will be on our go-to list for traders to grab, for investors to have, which will be the fastest movers once the market gets back in gear.